Well, a big focus this morning. The Maharashtra government has called for an all-party meeting over the Maratha Quota protests at 11 a.m. this morning. Now, the meeting will take place 2 days after violence and arson was reported from Maharashtra's Bir. But the Eknath Shinde government has said it is adopting measures that will pacify the agitators who want reservation in government jobs as well as education under the other backward classes category. But activist Manoj Jarange had been on an indefinite hunger strike at his native village in Jalna district since the 25th of October to demand reservation for the Maratha community. He ended his hunger strike after a discussion with the Chief Minister over the phone. But Maratha community members, as we have been reporting on NDTV, have been staging protests in different parts of Maharashtra, seeking reservation in government jobs as well as education. My colleague Ronak joins us with a quick update over the phone line. Ronak, we are aware that the Maharashtra government has called for an all-party meeting at 11 a.m. But you were mentioning that Uddhav Thackeray's faction has not been invited for this meeting?
जी देखिए, जो जानकारी फिलहाल मिल रही है कि उद्धव ठाकरे को इस बैठक के लिए नहीं बुलाया गया। हालांकि उनकी पार्टी से विधान परिषद में जो नेता विपक्ष अंबादास दानवे, उनको जरूर इस बैठक का न्योता दिया गया है। खुद संजय राउत ने थोड़ी देर पहले ही ट्वीट कर नाराजगी भी व्यक्त की है। लेकिन इस बैठक का सबसे जो मेन एजेंडा है वो ये है कि मराठा रिजर्वेशन को लेकर जो कुछ महाराष्ट्र में आंदोलन देखने को मिल रहा है, उस को देखते हुए सभी दलों का एक कंसेंसस बनाने की मुख्यमंत्री की कोशिश है। और ये बैठक सुबह 11 बजे शुरू होगी और खुद मुख्यमंत्री शरद पवार जैसे तमाम बड़े महाराष्ट्र के जो लीडर्स है वो इस बैठक में शिरकत करेंगे।
Thanks so much, as always, Ronak, for joining us on that story. Do stick on with us for the next update from Maharashtra as well. We have reports now. The Maharashtra government has declared a drought in 43 talukas that have been hit by the insufficient rainfall for the Kharif crop season of 2023. Now, in view of this decision, special assistance will be requested from the centre to give relief to these affected areas in Maharashtra. Ronak is with us for an update on this story as well. Ronak, now a drought has been declared in 43 talukas in Maharashtra.
जी देखिए, राज्य सरकार ने कल कैबिनेट की बैठक में ये फैसला लिया है। दरअसल महाराष्ट्र के ऐसे 40 तालुकाज है जहां पर इस बार औसत से भी कम बारिश हुई है और इसकी वजह से लगातार सरकार पर प्रेशर बन रहा था कि इन इलाकों में ड्रॉट डिक्लेयर करना चाहिए। और कल ये सरकार की तरफ से फैसला लिया गया है और ड्रॉट डिक्लेयर करने की वजह से वहां पर जो किसान है और जो वहां रहने वाले लोग हैं उसको कई तरह की रियायत भी सरकार की तरफ से दी गई है।
Thanks, Ronak, for joining us with that update. Let's turn our attention now to Jammu and Kashmir. There have been 3 instances of targeted attacks by terrorists in the past 3 days. A policeman was shot dead by terrorists inside his home in Jammu and Kashmir's Balamura district on Tuesday. And on Monday, a migrant labourer, Kuldeep Singh from Uttar Pradesh, was killed in Pulwama. On Sunday, a police inspector was shot and he was injured in Srinagar. Masroor Ahmed Wani was actually shot thrice on Sunday while he was playing cricket in the Eidgah area. Nazir Masoodi has further details for us.
In 3 days, 3 attacks and 2 targeted attacks, and also in 3 different parts of the valley. Yesterday evening, gunmen barged into the house of Ghulam Ahmed Dar, head constable of Jammu and Kashmir Police, in Vailu Koralpura area of Baramulla district. They shot him from point blank and he was taken to hospital in a critical condition by doctors declared him broad dead. So early on Monday there was a migrant worker who was killed in Pulwama, and on Sunday a police inspector Masroor Ahmed Wani was critically injured after he was attacked in Eidgah area of Srinagar. So clearly these target attacks have resurfaced. Militants are trying to send a message that they can carry out such attacks at a time when the police and the government have been saying that militancy is at its last leg. Very few boys have joined militancy over the last 1 year, which is the huge change in the ground situation what police have been saying. But it is a challenge for the security force now how to deal with this new wave of targeted attacks in the valley, where now we see 2 policemen were targeted in last 3 days and a migrant laborer also being killed. It is a tragedy for the families. Besides the what we talk about militancy, counter militancy, look at the family of the Ghulam Muhammad Dar's head constable. He is survived by his wife and 6 daughters, and he was a sole breadwinner for the family, whole family. So imagine the tragedy. Imagine the difficulties the family is going to face. One precious life has been cut short in this tragic attack. There's condemnation from all the sides. Every political party leader, they have condemned, and police have vowed to track down the attackers. But the attacks have resurfaced now. 3 attacks within 3 days, and the latest one is the police head constable was killed inside his home.
And now to Manipur, where reinforcement of state forces have reached More, a town right on the border with Myanmar, in the Teknopal district, after fragile peace in the state was disrupted when suspected militants shot dead a sub-divisional police officer in More. Now, in the evening, a large number of state forces, along with a column of Assam Rifles, which had left Imphal for More, came under attack. The combined team, which was led by an IG, a DIG, and 2 SP rank officers, came under fire at 2 locations along the Indo-Myanmar road, leaving at least 3 police personnel injured. Meanwhile, to prevent spreading of harmful messages, photos and videos, the Manipur government has extended the mobile internet ban for another 5 days till the 5th of November. Ratnadeep Chaudhary has the latest details for us.
The Kuki civil society groups have hit back at the state government, saying that the police commandos of Manipur police have been harassing the tribals in that area. Remember, More is a vulnerable area. Not only the fact that it is a border area, it is a entry point into the country, and therefore for the internal security of the country, it is a very prime location. Therefore, always there is a heavy security presence there. The Assam Rifles guards the porous border, and BSF had been deployed there. In the last 1 month, we did not see any major escalation, and the strategy was to build helipads in vulnerable areas so that it becomes easier for the force movement, given the fact that we have seen often that the women groups block the roads of security forces as they move in. Now, what has happened yesterday is that, according to police sources, what we have picked up is that this police officer, who was known to be a daredevil police officer, he was there in that area. He was the subdivisional police officer. He was in a non-combat duty, guarding and supervising the work of the helipad which was being constructed when, according to police sources, suspected militants fired using snipers, and after his death, within hours after his death, when the reinforcement was sent, at least in 2 places, the reinforcement came under heavy fire. 3 police commandos have sustained serious bullet injuries. They have been rushed back to Imphal and admitted in hospital. Assam Rifles is manning the area now. In fact, more reinforcement had finally reached More town around 3 a.m. In the morning, and in fact the state government, as you have rightly pointed out, have now extended the mobile internet ban till 5th of November. Now, what is important here to note is that yesterday, in yet another development, the state cabinet in an urgent meeting has decided to book tribal civil society organization, World Kuki Zoo Intellectual Council under UAPA. It has been declared unlawful and it has been booked under UAPA. However, the organization has hit back and said that their press statement on which this action has been taken by the government was a fake press statement, and they have issued an advisory that it was a fake statement. In fact, the apex body of the Kuki community, the Kuki Inpi, have alleged that the government had, particularly the state forces, have been harassing the tribals. The Indigenous Tribal Leaders Forum had racked up an issue that while in September, another police official who was on duty, he was a tribal, was shot dead by suspected militants, and we had reported that story in NDTV as well. The state government had kept mum at that point of time, so according to the Indigenous Tribal Forum. But when a non-tribal officer has been shot dead, now the state government is talking about it. So what the tribal groups are saying, that there are 2 ways that the state government follows when it comes to even state personals who are getting killed in action. However, all this boils down to the fact that there is a fresh tension in Manipur. In fact, last night in the areas, in certain areas, there were protests against the killing. There has been a joint action committee formed against the killing of the police officers. They are saying that they would intensify their protest if the perpetrators of the crime, if the person behind the attack on the police team in which the police officer got killed are not arrested. Now all this boils down to a situation where the state government and the center have to take control over the situation which is developing in More, which is a border town along the Myanmar border.
News now from the national capital and the NCR region. Well, in view of increasing pollution and deteriorating air quality in the national capital, Delhi's Environment Minister Gopal Rai has called a review meeting with the concerned departments. He's also set to address a press conference around 2 p.m. For the latest on the government's action plan, we're joined by Sharad over the phone line at the moment. Sharad, how bad is the situation as far as Delhi NCR region is concerned this morning? And the government is meeting to look at solutions?
देखिए, पिछले कुछ दिनों से लगातार जो दिल्ली का एयर क्वालिटी इंडेक्स है वो 300 के ऊपर चल रहा है। इसका मतलब ये एक वेरी पुअर कैटेगरी में है। केवल दिल्ली नहीं बल्कि एनसीआर के इलाके नोएडा, गाजियाबाद, यहाँ पर भी काफी खराब स्थिति है। तो क्योंकि लगातार ही काफी खराब एयर क्वालिटी चल रही है, तो उसके मद्देनजर दिल्ली के एनवायरमेंट मिनिस्टर गोपाल राय ने एक इमरजेंसी मीटिंग बुलाई है और सभी जो कंसर्न डिपार्टमेंट हैं उनके ऑफिशियल्स इस मीटिंग में शामिल होंगे। हालांकि पिछली बार जब बैठक बुलाई गई थी तो उसमें सीनियर ऑफिशियल जो सेक्रेटरी रैंक के ऑफिशियल थे वो शामिल नहीं हुए थे, लेकिन इस बार फिर उनसे कहा गया है कि वो मीटिंग में शामिल हों। तो बहुत ज्यादा हम कोई बड़े मेजर्स की तो उम्मीद इस मीटिंग में नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन ये जरूर है कि जो मेजर्स ग्रैब के तहत लागू होने होते हैं, CAQM कमीशन फॉर एयर क्वालिटी मैनेजमेंट ने प्रिस्क्राइब किए हुए हैं, उनको किस तरह से और सख्ती से लागू करवाया जाए, कैसे जो वाटर गन है, जो डस्ट पोल्यूशन को बैठाने के लिए इस्तेमाल होती हैं, जो कंस्ट्रक्शन एक्टिविटीज हैं, ये किस तरह से कंट्रोल की जाए, इन सब पर जो है चर्चा होगी। और उसके बाद 2 बजे जो एनवायरमेंट मिनिस्टर हैं गोपाल राय वो प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करके बताएंगे कि किस तरह से ये जो मेजर्स लिए जा रहे हैं इसको और सख्ती से लागू करवाया जाएगा। लेकिन ये है कि अभी ये तय है कि क्योंकि हर साल ही एयर क्वालिटी इस समय गिरती है और जैसे जैसे ठंड बढ़ती है और आसपास के इलाकों में पराली का भी एक फैक्टर रहता है, तो ये जरूर है कि अभी आगे जो एयर क्वालिटी है वो और डिटीरिएट होने की आशंका जरूर है और इसीलिए भी ये जो मीटिंग है आज की अहम है।
Sharad, as always, thanks so much for joining us with that update from New Delhi. Well, unfortunately, the situation is expected to get worse for the Delhi NCR region. In fact, several people suffering from respiratory disorders like chronic obstructive pulmonary disease are also experiencing deterioration in their condition despite being on medication due to the city's rising pollution levels. We'll, of course, keep tracking the latest developments for you. For now, we're stepping into a very short break. Welcome back. In a historic move, Bangladesh and Northeast India will re-establish rail connectivity through Tripura. After a gap of nearly 7.5 decades, and the much-awaited Akhauda-Agartala rail connection will be inaugurated virtually by our Prime Minister and his Bangladesh counterpart, Sheikh Hasina, at 11 a.m. today. Now, it is understood that the link will boost India-Bangladesh trade in agriculture products, tea, sugar, construction items as well, iron and steel, and consumer items, as well as boost people-to-people relationships. My colleague Saurabh Gupta is tracking the latest developments for us. He joins us live at the moment. Saurabh, now, apart from the rail link, the two leaders are also expected to inaugurate the Khulna-Mongla Port rail line and the second unit of the Maitri Super Thermal Power Plant.
Yes, these are extremely important projects, especially if you look at India's foreign policy, which is the Act East policy. And in the Act East policy, the Bay of Bengal region is an extremely important factor. And all these projects are also aimed at boosting bilateral ties with Bangladesh. And you mentioned people-to-people contact. Now, let's, for example, take the Agartala-Akhauda rail link. Eventually, when the entire project is functional, there are also plans to run trains to Agartala from Kolkata, which will really cut the distance and enable timely travel between the two cities by railways. And if I can give you an example, currently if one has to take a train from Kolkata to Agartala, the train goes right up to North Bengal, crosses the Chicken's Leg, passes through Guwahati, and then again comes downwards, southwards into Tripura. That, of course, is one thing. And the thermal power project is also very, very important because, India is already established a relationship in the power sector with Bangladesh. We are already supplying power from Godda to Bangladesh. We're also, today, the Prime Minister, along with the Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, will inaugurate this Maitri super thermal power plant, which is again being built under an Indian concessional financing scheme. And this is located in Rampal in Khulna division of Bangladesh. So, and then you have, of course, the Khulna-Mongla port line project also. Again, remember, our cooperation in the port sector with Bangladesh is also extremely, extremely important. And Bangladesh is an extremely important partner for India, especially when it comes to the BIMSTEC. Remember, the Secretariat of the BIMSTEC is located in Dhaka. And therefore, this is an extremely important event today in terms of not just India's foreign relations, but also local, sentiments as well. There's a lot of movement between, Tripura and Bangladesh, Agartala, through the Akhara border. And once this Nishchintapur, international railway station is complete, it, of course, makes this an extremely important line of connectivity for the people of Bangladesh, for the people of India. And all these projects are extremely important in terms of not just bilateral ties, but like you said, people-to-people connectivity as well, which is something that is extremely important for both India and Bangladesh.
As always, Saurabh, thank you so much for joining us with the latest updates. And a quick update for you on the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. Well, an Israeli airstrike is reported to have killed dozens of people at Jabalia refugee camp in northern Gaza. In fact, Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry said 50 people were killed and around 150 others were wounded in the largest refugee camp in Gaza. But a nearby hospital said it received 400 casualties, including 120 dead. As you can see on your screens, pictures show several large craters surrounded by shattered buildings. And the Israeli military said the strike had killed a senior Hamas commander and underground terror infrastructure beneath buildings had collapsed afterwards. Meanwhile, Palestinian telecommunications company Paltel has said there is another complete interruption of all communications as well as internet services within the Gaza Strip. Listen in to what the IDF has to say regarding the latest airstrikes.
חיסלנו הערב את המחבל המרצח איברהים ביארי. ביארי הוא מוביל הלחימה המרכזי בצפון הרצועה מאז כניסת כוחות צה"ל לעזה. יש לו גם חלק בטבח ב7 באוקטובר. במהלך החיסול שלו נהרגו מחבלים רבים. מחבלים ששהו יחד איתו במבנה ובאזור התת קרקע מתחת למבנים. הפגיעה במבנה של ביארי הקריסה מבנים נוספים בגלל שהייתה שם תשתית קרקע רחבה בג'באליה שתכליתה הייתה מימוש מבצעי טרור כנגד כוחותינו. כל התשתית קרסה ומחבלים רבים נהרגו.
Meanwhile, the military wing of the Hamas said the group plans to release some non-Israeli hostages they have been holding in the coming days. Some 240 people have been held by Hamas terrorists since their brutal incursion on the 7th of October. In fact, in a video statement, an Al-Qassam Brigade spokesman said the release had been arranged through mediation by some countries that he did not name. And top US diplomat Antony Blinken will begin a new Middle East trip this week, as per his spokesperson, as President Joe Biden seeks urgent mechanisms to reduce regional tensions over the Israel-Hamas war. Also, the White House said later that Joe Biden had spoken with the leader of key US partner Jordan on Tuesday, where Blinken has visited multiple times since the October 7th incursion. And the US president received a commitment from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to try to increase the flow of aid into Gaza. Biden actually spoke with Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday as Israeli forces expanded their ground operations in Gaza in what was called the second phase of its war on Hamas after the terrorist group's attacks earlier last month. Now, National Security Council spokesman John Kirby said in that the call with Biden did receive a commitment that Israelis will endeavor to support a significant increase in the flow of humanitarian aid into Gaza. So that means additional trucks. In fact, State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said all American citizens who are in Gaza should continue to register with the State Department and look out for further announcements. Listen in.
Around 45 went in yesterday. I think it was actually at least 45, might have been a few more than that made it through. For a total as of yesterday of at least 175 trucks that moved through Rafah crossing by end of day yesterday. Another 59 have moved today.
Sorry,
that was since they reopened, which I think was the 21st, since Rafah reopened. Another 59 have gone through today, which of course means more went through today than went through yesterday. We're continuing to try to increase the number that make it through Rafah every day. So we have sustained deliveries of humanitarian assistance to the innocent civilians in Gaza with and are trying, as the Secretary said on the Hill today, to get up to 100 trucks a day.
As always, news and updates continue here on NDTV 24/7. For now, we're slipping into a very short break.
Welcome back. Let's get you the very latest. And with just a week left for crucial elections to the 40-member Mizoram Assembly, the BJP, which opened its account in the state in 2018 polls, winning one seat, would like to not only win more, but play a key role as far as the formation of the government is concerned. But there are many challenges, including relations with ruling Mizo National Front, BJP's long-term NDA ally, and the Manipur violence fallout, and even as the party campaigns hard in the Christian-majority state. My colleague Ratnadeep reports.
A big-ticket 20,000 crore rupees road project among the BJP's biggest poll promises for Mizoram. This comes at a time when the ruling Mizo National Front, or the MNF, has been criticized by the opposition in the run-up to the polls for poor road infrastructure in the landlocked state.
Now I am going to announce a big road in Mizoram that is from Myanmar international border, and this road is going to connect 9 districts of Mizoram along international border of Myanmar and Nagaland and Mizoram and Manipur.
But the big question, will announcements like these work for the BJP? Especially at a time relations between the BJP and its Mizoram ally, the ruling MNF, are soaring over the issue of ethnic conflict in Manipur. Nearly 80% of Mizoram's population is Christian. They share a common ethnic heritage with the Kuki-Zo tribes of Manipur, who are in conflict with the majority Meiteis in Manipur, where the government is led by BJP. Thousands of tribals displaced from Manipur are sheltered in Mizoram. And Mizoram Chief Minister Zoramthanga has repeatedly hit out at the BJP over its handling of the Manipur crisis, even refusing to share stage with Prime Minister Modi during Mizoram campaign rallies, forcing the unprecedented cancellation of PM's rally in the state.
This Manipur wells, certainly it will play a very big role. They are the same families, so they have the same affinity, and they know that we have done a great thing for the displaced person coming from Manipur.
BJP is making its presence this time in Mizoram, and I'm very hopeful that we will be able to win some good numbers of seats and play important role in the formation of the government this time.
Ever since the Modi government came to power in 2014, BJP's political march in the northeast has been fast and furious. In 2016, they were able to win the first state in northeast when they won Assam for the first time, and after that there was no looking back. Even in 2018 Mizoram elections in the Christian-dominated state, BJP was able to open its account, winning one seat. But at that point of time, old-time ally, the MNF, did not share power with the BJP. The tension between the allies is such that BJP President JP Nadda strongly criticized the MNF-led government last week and said that if his party comes to power in the state, it would set up a special investigation team or SIT to probe corruption allegations. With the Congress not at its strongest in Mizoram anymore, the Zoram People's Movement or ZPM, a regional party that won 7 of the state's 40 seats in the last election, is looking at a much stronger performance and is targeting the BJP over Manipur.
BJP should see that people from Manipur should not be displaced, that they should be in Manipur in their, in their rightful place. They should not be talking about displaced people of Manipur when they are the very reason why they are displaced. But regarding education, of course, that should be the manifesto of everyone, that whoever is coming into our state, they should be given free education.
The BJP is eyeing minority ethnic groups in Mizoram and pushing hard in 3 seats in Mamit district that have a significant chunk of voters from the minority Bru and Chakma groups. In Guwahati, Ratndeep Chaudhary for NDTV.
Switching tracks to Rajasthan and election news from the state, where Congress leader Sachin Pilot filed his nomination yesterday. For the moment, the Congress leadership, the tussle has been set aside as Pilot is set to face several parties in Tonk during this election. Meanwhile, the BJP is facing trouble from within in both Jalore as well as Chittorgarh. The BJP is facing trouble after sending in MP Devji Patel on the Jalore seat and adjusting son-in-law of former Chief Minister Bhairo Singh Shekhawat.
Sachin Pilot filing his nomination from Tonk, a seat the former Deputy CM won last time around with a margin of over 54,000 votes. But this time, the going may not be that easy. Controversial BJP MP Ramesh Bidhuri is overseeing the BJP's campaign in Tonk. Owaisi's AIMIM also makes an entry into Tonk, and the Gujjar support base could be diminished. Last time, the Gujjars had swung en masse to the Congress in the hope that Sachin would be Chief Minister. Smaller parties like the SDPI, Chandrasekhar Azad's candidate, and the RLP could cut into crucial votes. And the leadership tussle that marked Pilot's tenure from Tonk has been set aside, at least for the moment.
हम मिलकर काम कर रहे हैं और 18 में हम लोग बहुमत पे आए, 21 से 100 पर आए थे। आज हम सबका दायित्व बनता है कि हम पुनः दोबारा मिलकर काम करें और आज देश की जरूरत है कि कांग्रेस पार्टी की इन राज्यों में सरकार बने। इन राज्यों में हम कामयाब होंगे तभी 2024 के लोकसभा चुनाव में हमारा इंडिया जो अलायंस है वो कामयाब हो सकेगा। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि पब्लिक हमारे साथ है और हम लोग भाजपा कोई प्रचार कर ले लेकिन सरकार कांग्रेस पार्टी की बनने जा रही है, ऐसा मैं मानता हूँ।
But the leadership tussle is also very real for the BJP in this election. Opposition to MP Devji Patel, fighting as MLA from Jalore, refuses to die down. And Chittorgarh has become another flashpoint. Narpat Singh Rajvi, son-in-law of the late Bhairo Singh Shekhawat, has been adjusted in Chittorgarh after being denied a ticket in Jaipur's Vidyadhar Nagar, much to the dismay of sitting MLA Chandrabhan Singh Akia, who is now threatening to go solo. Rajvi, who reached Chittorgarh for campaigning, says he's been sent here on the party's directions.
बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है, कार्यकर्ताओं में उत्साह है और जीत का मार्ग प्रशस्त कर रहे हैं, दिखा देंगे, जीत कर दिखाएंगे। चंद्रभान जी यहाँ आपके सामने खड़े हैं, वो भी भाजपा से क्या माने आपके? जिसको सिंबल मिलेगा पार्टी के साथ है, कार्यकर्ता पार्टी के विरोध में नहीं, सिंबल के साथ।
And as Rajasthan heads into elections, clearly for leaders within the BJP and the Congress, the fight is as much within as without. With Harsha Kumari Singh, Bureau Report, NDTV.
Welcome back. Minister of State, IT Minister Rajiv Chandrasekhar spoke with my colleague Vishnu Som regarding the Apple hack alert messages. Let's listen in to what he had to say.
Overnight for us here in India issued a new executive order to ensure that AI, artificial intelligence, doesn't do public harm. Do you believe that developers who do pose a potential risk must share the results of safety tests with the government? Now, America wants their industry to do this. Do you want Indian developers to do something like this as well?
So one of the things, Vishnu, that I would certainly like to draw your attention to is that the wording. First of all, I welcome what President Biden and the U.S. government has done. I think this is in the wake of the historic MOU between the U.S. and India when Honorable Prime Minister visited the U.S., where the U.S. and India have agreed to collaborate in AI and in semiconductor and in high performance computing and in quantum computing. So AI is certainly an area where India and the US are going to work very closely together. And I think our basic principles in how we view the internet and in general and tech in particular, tech in general and internet and AI in particular is similar, because we have been saying for almost now 24 months that our policies and our approach to regulation is about safety and trust and accountability, safety and trust of our digital nagriks and accountability of all the platforms that serve our digital nagriks. And that is exactly the language that we have used for the last 24, 30 months. And it is good to see that now the US is essentially talking about safety and trust and accountability, albeit they, one or two words may be different, but effectively they're talking about safety and trust of the users. And I think that convergence of the leading nations of the world and leading tech nations of the world around making the consumer or the user's safety being the primary public policy objective for any tech policy making is a good forward step. Now, in my opinion, different countries will approach this differently in terms of whether there will be disclosure of risks from platforms, or there is a need for sandboxing platforms and having sandboxes validate some technologies in AI before it is actually made commercially available to a mass market. Or in our case, as India is proposing, and we will certainly strongly propose it in tomorrow's discussion here in the UK, is that we think we need to create an overall framework of user harm, which is the reciprocal of safety and trust. What kinds of user harm are not permitted by any platform, whether that's an AI platform, whether it's a consumer tech platform, whether it's a social media platform, that we start regulating the internet in general and AI in particular through the prism of the safety and trust of those who use it. Because, when we talk about AI, Vishnu, and I'm sorry, I'm going to ramble on this a little bit.
No, please do. It's fascinating.
AI is a technology that is going to enable us to do more with less. So do more good with less. We will certainly become a force multiplier and a kinetic enabler of a digital economy. That is the good news. But the same principle applies to the bad and the harm, which is that AI will be able to amplify and compound in very significant manners the harm and the criminality elements of the internet as we know today.
Now, the key point made by opposition MPs is that even if there were, who knows, dodgy algorithms at work in Apple, why is it that only opposition MPs have been targeted? How would you respond to that?
No, that's factually untrue, Vishnu. A gentleman, Samir Saran, who is not a member of parliament at all by any stretch of imagination, has got that notification. So I think it is, and Apple has seemingly put out that people from many countries have seemed to have got this notification over the last 24 hours or 48 hours. So I think this is more a question that Apple should answer, because as we have said today, my colleague Ashwini Vaishnav has said, and I have said, this is something that Apple, who have always stressed that their platforms are secure, designed for privacy, etc., they must explain whether their platforms and devices are really secure or not. Because if they are either they are secure and this is a false alarm, or if they are not secure and this is something real, then they have to explain what this is and what is this so-called state actor that they are notifying. So either way, I think there is a need for an investigation, which is what Mr. Vaishnav has said in the press conference. I'm unfortunately not in Delhi today. And I think there is a certain need, because this is a government that takes the business and the duty of privacy of our citizens very seriously. We are the ones who brought the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill. The Supreme Court found that privacy is a fundamental right when Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji was Prime Minister in 2017. So we think Apple has to answer a number of questions about these devices that they claim are secure, to whether they are secure or not. And if they are not secure, then we have a different kind of a problem. But if they are secure and these notifications are going out and alarming people, and the phraseology, the verbiage that the notification implies that there are some state actors. Who are these state actors? Are they state actors within India? Are they state actors outside the country? Is there some effort to try and disrupt the India-Apple relationship? So there are several questions that arise naturally from what we have heard in the last 24 hours. And that I think a lot of that has to do with Apple explaining what is really going on, because they've been, in their reply, in my opinion, slightly vague.
Bottom line, since you will be speaking to Apple, I'm sure the government is, would it be correct to say that the government of India has no role whatsoever in spying on opposition leaders? I just wanted a clear statement from you, given the allegations that we've been seeing on Twitter.
Look, 100,000%. This was said even during those meaningless allegations in the past. As we are getting closer to election, we understand it's political season and people will pull out things out of their hat, imaginary and even more imaginary, as bizarre as they can get. But this is a government that takes the business and the duty of protecting the rights of citizens, all citizens, including those in the opposition and those who are not in the opposition. The right to privacy is a fundamental right, and we take that duty very seriously. And, when we've legislated in a very clear manner about what that means to citizens, a fundamental right to privacy in terms of data protection. And that applies to all platforms, whether they are Apple or, the social media platforms. We've made it very clear. And this is an issue, certainly, for a platform that claims to be secure, a platform and a manufacturer that claims that its devices are designed for privacy. They are the ones who have to answer what they, is their platform really compromisable? Whether it is a state actor within or outside the country, it is for Apple to explain whether this is really possible, and if so, who is doing it or what is done. There is, in the press note that Apple has put out, which I've just seen as I landed here I'm here to attend the AI Safety Summit. The press note starts with a statement that says that there is no evidence of any state-sponsored actors, or there's no evidence. That's the first sentence. And then they go on to say usual corporate language about A, B, C, D, F, G, and so on and so forth. And I still think that they need to be much clearer about what that notification really means, because they are the ones sending that notification. And in my opinion, there are only two scenarios. Either their platform is compromised and therefore they've sent a notification, or the platform is secure and that notification was sent by their own language. It could be false and it could be, unreliable. So they've said that in their own website, that it is possible that these notifications are false. So either way, they have to take this position, whether the platform is compromised, in which case the investigation will throw up where the platform is compromised and what kind of compromised weaknesses they have in the platform. But if what they have been saying is true, that they are designing their phones, designed for privacy, these are secure platforms, then they must explain what this notification really means and why people all across the spectrum, including in many countries, are getting this notification.
The other thing which has happened of late in terms of leaks is allegations that perhaps Aadhaar data is not as secure. Some reports suggesting that some Aadhaar details have been leaked, in fact considerable volumes of it. Telephone numbers, people, those who've had their COVID vaccinations, and therefore some data attached to people. What has happened over there? Is it true?
Look, during the consultations on the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill, I was asked, and even after the bill was enacted and it became an act, there was this conversation and discussion and consultation about what should be the transition period. And I said then, and I say today, that it is very clear that in the government ecosystem, and that the government ecosystem is a huge ecosystem that consists of central government, ministries, departments, state government departments and ministries, where there is a lot of data that has been collected, legacy data over the years, which peaked during COVID, that there is a lot of time that is going to be required for government to transition in an orderly, non-disruptive manner to being a responsible trustee and keeper of citizens' data. And I am still not privy to the exact details. I only understand that it's some leak or a breach, alleged leak or a breach from. I think we have to recognize that the government ecosystem will take a little longer to transition to this absolutely bulletproof ecosystem which manages to the data and keep it, because we are now talking about legacy data that has been collected over several years and several almost decades in many cases. In many cases there are data that are being digitized and being made machine readable as the digitization process is going on. So I think it is certainly not something that I'm very happy about, and I'm sure CERT is investigating it as is the mandate. But it is something that we must accept will take a little bit of time for the government ecosystem. And by the way, this applies to the MSMEs and small businesses in the country as well, who are also custodians of large amounts of consumer and citizen data, that they will take a bit of time to adjust to this new framework, this new paradigm, if you want to call it that, where there is a lot more responsibility and accountability about how they collect, store and access data.
Do we have any idea of the extent of this leak?
No, I certainly don't, and I don't want to speculate. I think these are things that where there are institutional responses. CERT is the institution that always swings into action and investigates it, understands what is being leaked, where it's being leaked, what has caused the vulnerability. Is it a hack? Is it a system and operating procedure vulnerability? So they are the ones who swing into action for that. And I think I will just wait till they decide to submit the report and when they submit the report.